When President George W. Bush entered office, he set a goal of making sure all children get a quality education. In 2001, Congress passed the No Child Left Behind Act, and President Bush made it law in 2002. Almost 10 years later, lawmakers are discussing how to revise it for the future.
The basic premise of No Child Left Behind is that we're going to look at everyone's performance, which was a really positive thing. Historically, in the United States, the federal government hasn't always been really involved in schooling, state to state.
The groundbreaking legislation began with a commendable goal. By 2013, all children would be passing their state standardized test.
Prior to No Child Left Behind, it really was not politically correct in the teaching profession to discuss the performance of various groups of students. And a really positive benefit of this legislation was that we were able then to look at our students that weren't performing well and who those students are. And why aren't they performing well?
EVSC's director of middle schools, Tamara Skinner, says this allowed teachers to take a closer look at what they were doing in the classroom. Was it working? And if not, why? But with the good intentions, Skinner says, came some negative consequences.
So one of the basic tenets of No Child Left Behind is adequate yearly progress. And basically, in the newspaper, you might see that reported as AYP. And next to that AYP, it'll say yes or no. So really, a school is held accountable to meeting the target, but they're not given any credit for how much growth they attain on their way to that target. So while individual students in a school might really be achieving at higher levels, if they're not hitting this invisible target that's set, then they don't make it.
And based on demographics, some schools may have an easier shot at making adequate yearly progress. Those categories that students are grouped into based on socioeconomics, gender, ethnicity, and other qualities, well, each category has to pass the state test for the school to pass as a whole.
If you have more than 30 students in one of those categories at any given grade level, then you report in that category. It depends on their school demographics and population. Some schools may have to make it in as many as 24 categories, but other schools are only reporting out in 5 or 6. So let's say a school makes 23 of 24 categories. In the paper, what you would see reported is that school did not make AYP because they missed in one category.
In the next version of the No Child Left Behind legislation, Skinner hopes to see a growth model to account for children who are improving. She would also like to see more flexibility in the penalties assigned to schools that don't meet adequate yearly progress.
And I think that's important because what works in Evansville may not be the thing that they need to do in Indianapolis. So we really need to be able to decide as a community how to best meet the needs of our children.
Reporting for Education Matters, I'm Jennifer Cahill.
And coming up next, we'll talk about the reauthorization of No Child Left Behind. More with Congressman Bucshon right after this.